Hey guys, Twisted here. So normally I would do tutorials where I take you through the process of creating or doing something in a certain program or programs. But today I decided to do something a little bit different and talk about basic color theory. Now this is the ordinary stuff. There is a far more complicated area that could be covered, and this theory varies in different ways depending on certain things such as your style, etc. But this is the classic thing that most people, especially graphic designers, go by. So let's get started. The first principle I believe that is necessary to starting off color theory is obviously the color wheel. The color wheel is comprised of three sections. First are the primary colors, which are red, yellow, and blue. These colors cannot be created with a mixing of other colors and are the source for all of the colors. The next set are secondary colors. These are the colors you get when you mix two primary colors together. So this includes orange, which is a mix of red and yellow, purple, which is a mix of blue and red, and green, which is a mix of yellow and blue. Finally, we have the tertiary colors. These colors are created when you mix a primary and a secondary color together. They are all named after the two colors that are mixed. For an example, red, orange, or blue, purple. Once the color wheel is complete, by dividing it in half in a certain way, you get a set of warm and a set of cool colors on either side. The next step to understand is hue, saturation, and brightness. These are the three properties of a specific color, and each color has its own one set of these aspects. Hue represents the color itself, such as red, yellow, and blue. Saturation represents the strength of the color, so that means the closer to the gray the color looks, the more desaturated it is. Finally, we have brightness, which can also be called value, which represents how light or dark the color is. Now that you understand the colors, I'm going to go through ways colors harmonize and disagree with each other. The two categories of color harmony are monochromacy and analogy. Monochromatic colors are colors that consist of the same hue, but vary in saturation and brightness. And analogous colors are colors of any saturation and brightness, but are within three spaces on the color wheel. So that can be the boundaries of the color temperature, so warm and cool, or it can be halfway between both. Now for the colors that disagree, these are the colors that expand beyond the three spaces on the color wheel. The first thing being the complementary color, which is a color that faces the exact opposite of another color on the color wheel. This can be used in ways that work, but primarily they will not. It's because the color creates contrast instead of harmony. Speaking of contrast, this will take us into the next and final stage of color theory. First thing I want to mention is that two completely contrasted colors are used to desaturate a color. So you will use them instead of adding gray. If you think about the most contrasted colors, black and white, when they are mixed together, they get closer to gray. This principle applies to complementary colors too. The next part of contrast I want to mention is color reading. When a color is placed on top of another color, that color may appear different depending on the contrast and color of what is being placed upon. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you learned a little bit of color theory. I could do an advanced color theory tutorial later down the road. There's a lot more to learn about it, so it would be a little bit, but this is basically what I know already. If you grew up in an artistic family like I did, because my mom's a painter, then this comes as common knowledge. Just, how anything would if your parents are inventor, for an example, you would probably have an easier time creating things than people who weren't, or if they're business people, then it's easier to start a business than if not, so on and so forth. So it's basically like that. But if you didn't or you haven't learned anything about this, I hope this really comes in handy. If there's anything I missed, any questions you have about it, any mistakes I made, I don't think I did, unless pronunciation. Then yeah, it's good. So thanks for watching, guys. If this helped, make sure to leave a like and a comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe.